In early 2018, a major change in U.S. trade policy was announced. The government decided to place new fees, known as tariffs, on certain goods imported from other countries. The data shows this decision had an almost immediate effect on specific sectors of the American economy. While the policy was designed to protect and bolster domestic industries, its shockwaves were felt far and wide. For one city in particular, the impact was both swift and severe. That city was Detroit, the historic heart of the American automotive industry. The numbers began to shift, not over years, but over months, creating rapid disruption that caught many by surprise. Detroit's identity is deeply intertwined with the fortunes of the car business. For over a century, the city's pulse has been timed to the rhythm of assembly lines. Its prosperity grew from the factories that stamped steel, forged engines, and assembled the vehicles that put America on wheels. The entire ecosystem, from small parts suppliers to massive assembly plants, relies on a delicate balance of costs, demand, and schedules. Because of this deep-rooted connection, any significant tremor in the auto industry is felt as a powerful earthquake across the entire metro area. At its core, a tariff is a tax. It is a fee that a government charges on goods imported from another nation. The primary purpose of a tariff can vary. Sometimes it raises revenue for the government. More often, it is a tool of trade policy. By making imports more expensive, governments encourage purchases of domestically made products. The idea: give local industries a competitive advantage. The 2018 tariffs aim to protect and revitalize American manufacturing. Steel, aluminum. The U.S. argued foreign producers were flooding the market with low-cost metals. That made it hard for American mills and smelters to compete, leading to plant closures and job losses. The proposed solution raised costs for any business relying on those materials. The tariffs on steel aluminum created what many in the auto industry called a metal squeeze. Suddenly, the cost of the most basic materials needed to build a car went up significantly. A 25% tax on imported steel and a 10% tax on imported aluminum were not small numbers. For automakers and their suppliers, these increases were a direct blow to budgets. A vehicle's frame, its doors, its hood, all are made from large sheets of steel. Critical engine parts and lightweight body panels are often crafted from specialized aluminum alloys. Material price is a major factor in total vehicle cost, and the tariffs forced that price upward, almost overnight. A modern car is not built in one place. It is a global puzzle assembled from thousands of parts that come from hundreds of suppliers located all over the world. This intricate network is known as the supply chain. Before the tariffs, the system was optimized for efficiency and low cost. Designed in Michigan, manufactured with steel from South Korea, assembled in Mexico, then shipped back to Detroit for final installation. The 2018 tariffs threw a wrench into this machine, causing a powerful ripple effect. Tariffs didn't just hit raw steel and aluminum, they hit finished and semi-finished parts containing those metals. The impact was immediate. Shipments were held up at ports. Companies scrambled to understand rules and pay unexpected fees. The smooth flow of components was disrupted. An assembly line can't run if it's missing one critical part, so delays threaten to bring production to a halt. For economists and policymakers, tariffs are numbers on a spreadsheet and lines on a graph. But for people working in Detroit's factories, the effects were much more personal. The data translated into real-world changes that affected daily life and financial security. One of the first things many workers noticed was a reduction in overtime hours. Overtime pay is often critical income, used to pay off debts, save for a child's education, cover unexpected expenses. "We went from working 50, sometimes 60 hours a week to a flat 40, said a union worker at a part stamping plant outside Detroit, who asked not to be named. That extra day of pay was what we counted on. First, the overtime went away. Then, a few months later, they started announcing temporary layoffs. You'd work for 3 weeks, then be off for 1. It was impossible to plan when you didn't know if you'd have a full month's paycheck. The uncertainty was as damaging as the lost income. The orders were slowing down, the storage lots were filling up. You just knew something bad was coming. To have a fair and factual conversation about Detroit's challenges, it's crucial to acknowledge tariffs were not the only force at work. The industry was already transforming long before 2018. They were an accelerant, not the original spark. One major force was automation and robotics. For decades, factories invested to boost efficiency and quality, with fewer workers needed. That shift caused displacement and required new skills. Consumers moved away from smaller sedans and toward larger SUVs and trucks, ending long-running models, even closing specialized plants. Global markets, especially China, grew more important. Production followed customers. Meanwhile, the EV revolution demanded different parts, processes, and skills, massive investments, less certainty. When tariffs hit, they added a sharp financial shock to an industry already navigating all of this. Tariffs made a difficult situation worse, and that's, how it played out. Context matters. The reason the tariff impact felt so overnight lies in modern manufacturing and market psychology. The auto industry runs just in time. Parts arrive only hours before they're needed. There are no vast warehouses waiting. It minimizes storage costs, maximizes efficiency, but it's extremely fragile. A sudden tariff is like a boulder in a river. The disruption was immediate. When tariffs went into effect, covered steel, aluminum, and parts faced the new tax. There was no grace period. A shipment sent under old rules could arrive under new ones, instantly adding 25% cost. Logistical and financial chaos followed. Companies had to pay the bill or refuse the shipment. Either choice jeopardized schedules. Markets amplified the shock. Analysts downgraded earnings in minutes. Headquarters ordered immediate cuts, reduce shifts, cancel overtime, pause hiring, halt new investments. Fragile logistics plus market pressure created the overnight effect. When a new cost like a tariff is introduced, the bill is never paid by just one group: businesses, workers, consumers. Detroit's story shows how the expense was shared. In the end, almost everyone paid a price, though in different ways. Automakers and their suppliers absorbed billions in higher steel and aluminum costs. That hit profits directly. Smaller firms with thin cushions took loans and renegotiated contracts, some in precarious positions. Workers paid through lost income and job insecurity, fewer overtime hours, temporary shutdowns, and in some cases layoffs. A shift reduction is a direct cut to a family's income and benefits. Consumers paid more too. Studies, including from NBER, found higher prices for goods like cars and appliances. Anyone buying a new car likely paid a portion of the tariff, whether they realized it or not. A policy intended to help one sector acted as a tax on others. That's how the bill was split in the Motor City. Detroit and the 2018 tariffs offer clear lessons for policymakers. A national policy can have swift, concentrated, unintended local consequences. Data shows sudden changes to basic input costs ripple through supply chains with remarkable speed. In autos, a ripple can become a tidal wave. Lesson 1. Stability and predictability. Businesses thrive on certainty and plan years ahead. Prefer gradual rollout, clear rules, and targeted exemptions where domestic supply is lacking. Lesson 2. Pair broad policies with local support. Retraining for EV-era roles, and bridge loans for small suppliers. Tariffs are a blunt instrument with widespread effects. In Detroit, automakers paid in profits, workers in wages and jobs, consumers in prices. Support for American manufacturing needs nuance. Value stability, invest in skills, and respect global linkages. In a connected world, you cannot break one link in the chain without shaking the whole thing.